I said I'd be back, so here I am.
I told you I would be back!
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? This is the second part of my breakdown where I detail kind of how I made my own personal Spider-Man suit. So yeah, if you missed the first part, I'll have it linked somewhere around there. But yeah, here I'll be talking about the sewing as well as the painting process, essentially doing like a whole breakdown of the suit here. Before I started sewing and before I started painting, what I had to do first was I had to source out where I was going to get my materials. For the paints, I just went to my local art shop, my local Michael's, and then picked up a couple bottles of metallic black puffy paint and then slick royal blue puff paint. I also ordered a batch of applicator tip bottles. I wanted to kind of merge the two together and essentially create kind of a metallic blue finish because I wanted to do something unique with the webs this time around. As for the fabric itself, and before I sewed it on and everything, I wanted to make sure that the fabrics itself, they had some form of texture to it, like it felt tactile in a way, as opposed to choosing a flatter version of Lycra. So I had to keep that in mind when sourcing out my reds, my blues, and my blacks. What? From there, I cut out some scrap pieces of fabric. I went to doing a couple test pieces with regards to how I wanted the suit to look and feel, and see if the ideas that I had in my head and what I had written down could essentially work out and translate properly onto the project itself. What's fun about the suit, but also the most annoying thing about the suit was I had no template.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Like, I just didn't.
Try!
You probably shouldn't do that if you were considering this venture, and I eyeballed it as much as I could, chalking it, measuring it, making sure the guidelines that you want to follow is that you always want to make it as close, well, not as close to the fabric as possible. You need to make it at least 5/8 to allow for some extra fabric to go through, because once you're sewing it, if you do end up sewing it to the exact size, it'll become smaller than what you had initially intended, because threading itself needs to have that kind of leeway. And then I didn't want to have to sew it and then do the webs on. Once I had my templates cut, I lined it out with chalk, and then I used Sharpie, and then I started tracing on the puff paint. I used about 2-3 layers, and then from there it went about taking it to the sewing machine. The stitch itself came to a zigzag. The stitching itself came to a zigzag stitch. You want the thread to stretch a little, so you don't want it too tight when you are initially doing this. You want the fabrics to be able to like withstand you wearing it personally. The overall sewing process took about, I want to say, 2-3 months. I actually think it'd be better if I just step into it. That way you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. So yeah, one sec. Hey, how's it going, you guys? So as you can see, this is the mask itself up close. I have put the suit on fully. And so yeah, the lenses are actually 3D printed. The lenses themselves are fan mesh, like mesh filters for your PC. And then the actual glossy look is a separate layer taken simply from an empty water bottle. And yeah, as you can see, the lenses are detachable, they're magnetic. There is a foam lining underneath with magnets that help separate it properly. And yeah. And then the front spider, the way it was done up was that I actually cut up the inside and glued the fabric from there in order to make the front body. To talk more about the shirt itself, and the way I went about using the logos. The back spider is actually hand stitched onto the suit before sewing it all up on the machine. And then I went with a slightly organic style of doing the webs. I wanted it to feel as though the front spider was weaving into the back spider itself. Yeah, as you can see, the gloves are inspired by Insomniacs. A lot of inspiration to go around. Over here, you'll see how I went about doing the sneakers, which are just Taekwondo shoes that I ordered online. I modified them just to give it more, again, retain that kind of athleticism that I think would be practical for a spider suit. So yeah, this is basically the suit in a nutshell. So basically, that was basically the suit. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for whenever the final part comes in, which will be at some point, for sure. No doubt. Absolutely. 100%. Straight up. At some point. Yeah. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want, you don't have to. Ring the bell for notifications. Yeah, I guess I'll catch you on the flip. Bye! I feel like I'm forgetting something.